Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Hateful Eight Radio. I'm your host, Dylan Lamp. Today, I'm joined by Brandon Berger. What's up, Brandon?
Good afternoon.
So, and today we are missing Mick Hoyle, unfortunately, due to his two-way contract that we've dealt with him. He's currently working his day job, so he cannot be with us. Um, but we have a lot to talk about. We just had our first ever Hateful Eight rivalry week. So I think it's a great place to start off. We'll go in, talk about some of the key games. Straight away, we'll go me versus John. I mean, what a game. 129 to 94. It was a bit of a mid off. But I think I was probably one of the only people talking shit in the group chat. But it warmed my heart every time I did it. There was a lot of drama with this, whether it be Daniel Jones getting hurt or then the subsequent call I got from John, where he pleaded for me to bench Jordan Love because Daniel Jones had gotten hurt.
This was like crazy, which is crazy to say that this was still like a winner go home game for John, considering he's been in a slide for what feels like my entire life. If he wins this game, he's like low-key in the playoffs, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, like every single game this week, this rivalry week, meant something, except for my game and Alex's game. That game didn't mean anything other than bragging rights over a guy that I literally own. Um, but yeah, it's just the John pleading and crying. It,
Oh,
you
it was
know,
hilarious.
I don't
Eh,
want to hate on bro too much, but it was pretty pathetic.
Hey, okay, so I mean, I genuinely did consider, right, and I think as a member of the Hateful Eight, you're playing, right. You're playing the fan base of your own team. You're playing the role of your coach and your owner, right. So you gotta sort of, at least for me, I was trying to balance it a little bit. I was like, I mean, do I actually bench Jordan Love in the heart of good sportsmanship? But I ended up deciding that's on the heart and the spirit of the game. Just because a player goes down, you still got to go out there and play a hard 4 quarters. And so that's what my team did. And then John's team, I mean, even if Daniel Jones hadn't gotten hurt, the rest of his team put up an absolute stinker. Whether it be Jamar Chase or one of his bigger acquisitions of the year, George Pickens, for some reason just did not get a have a good game against Detroit. Um, but yeah, so that leaves John out of the playoffs and me at my franchise high of 8-6. By the way, not to self glaze, but feeling pretty good about that.
Big back-to-back years of making it into the playoffs. That's gotta be a good feeling for the franchise. Probably looking to cut a big check for the coach.
Oh yeah.
Um, in the coming years, this is a guy who can win in a tough division, an expanded league. Not easy to adjust to change.
Hmm.
Another super impactful game this week, which was actually our highest scoring affair, which is just so unfortunate for Will, is our expansion team rivals, Will and Alec.
Yeah.
Will putting up the second highest points in the league this week, which would have got him in the playoffs if he had played any other team. But Alec puts 165 on his face, and he's out. Which is just so sad for kind of this comeback story. I don't want to say I'm like living vicariously through this guy, but
Yeah, I mean,
it was.
you want to see, like, I mean, obviously it's expansion team versus expansion team, but we really thought, we had been talking about on the pod that we thought we might see a bit of a Cinderella story where we get both, one just from Will on this incredible comeback, but two, both of these expansion teams in the playoffs.
Yeah,
Um,
that would have been big.
yeah, it would have been big for just the brands, the league, a league of parity. Something that me as a commissioner strives for. Um, but
And
just brutal, just a brutal,
yeah,
brutal
and
loss.
like it's so unfortunate because I really just don't feel like, the records are what they are, and I'll tip my cap to them. But I just feel like Audie and Carson are have not been playoff teams lately. They've been trending in the wrong direction. Like, Carson somehow lost to a guy who put up 104 points.
Yeah,
And it feels like right now, you know, it's a what have you done for me lately kind of league, and I think Will has proven that he can, you know, duke it out with the big boys, but he's stuck in the toilet bowl with with me, Alex, and John now.
yeah,
Moving on
the
to
absolute
me and
shitters.
Alex's game, complete
Well, real
complete
quick,
nothing
I do want to
burger.
say,
Oh, sorry, go
as, because we have said our thoughts and opinions on Alex's team, Alec, and I do want to give him his congratulations, even though we do have our biases here on the show. But congratulations, first year in the league, getting that playoff berth.
yeah.
So shout out,
Three
Alec.
seed, three
Yeah,
seed. This is the 3 seed Alec team. This is, you know, uh, and a 165 showing. If you can get that kind of production out of Mr. Josh Allen, you guys are playing the Patriots this week. So I think this is kind of a big game for both the Bills and for Alec here. So I know he's a fan of the old team up in Buffalo. So all the best to you guys. You know how we feel about the Patriots on this podcast.
truth. Well, yeah. So
Um,
moving on to your
yeah,
team, you were saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah. This game, like, it really, again, it really just did not mean a damn thing. Um,
Hey, it means a
despite
lot. It means a lot to both.
Yeah,
It's
it
Tech
mean it
UVA.
means
It means
right.
a lot to the fan bases.
Okay, okay, let's not go that far. Alex is a
Well,
faithful Hokie.
I
Let's
wasn't
just not go
assigning
there.
anyone UVA per se, but yeah, no, I get
Uh, a lot of respect for Alex. I do own him, but
you.
you can own someone and still respect them.
Oh, 100%.
Big games out of my running backs, my starting wide receivers. Big game out of T Higgins, which he ended the day going on concussion protocol. Really hoping I have him back next week because I'm up against John, who has Jamar Chase, so that could be a pretty crucial player to be on the field this week. But not a lot to say about this game. It was a nice beat down, 149 to 111, ending our both of our seasons at 5-9. I kind of dragged him down in the mud with me, put me at fifth in the league in points for, which I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah,
Little participation trophy for your boy. Proud of how this team has fought despite the fact that we've been pretty much out of the playoffs for a while now. It's important to go out there and earn your paycheck, earn the respect of the fans, and so yeah, shout out to the Magaquan Barkley 2025 football team.
yeah,
You wanna talk about
of course.
Nick
Yeah,
Carson?
I'll sort of lump both of these games together because I think they sort of just impacted each other in an interesting way. I think you see Enzo lose 118 to Audie's 138, and Mick pick up a win against Carson 104 to 84, right? And I think the way that these games sort of impact each other is that with this Enzo loss and this Mick win, they swapped places in the standings, with Mick being the one overall and Enzo being second overall. Um, which, if you were paying attention to the group chat, Enzo was terrified of playing in against me. He was, or even Carson, right? He was earlier last week. He was expected to play Carson last week. Um, like he was terrified of this side of the standings and was trying to tank, which as a commissioner, that broke my heart. I don't know, Brandon. I would love to hear your thoughts. That killed me inside to see a uh, a founding member of this league try to tank in a rivalry week.
And as much as I hate to say it, this is a flagship a flagship franchise in the league right now. These are guys that have been having great success over these past two inaugural seasons. Enzo was here for season one. He's here for the expansion, and he's had, really, really good success. It just it's not good as a competitor to send that kind of message out to your team. I'm hoping, well, actually, I'm hoping it does come back to bite them because, this is a pro Hateful South podcast, and it's pretty telling that he was trying to duck the only, the side of the bracket with the Hateful South player. I think it just goes to show how weak
Yeah, no,
the
100%.
competition is up north, and these teams that snuck in are maybe you can't even really call them legitimate contenders. So
Yeah, I mean,
that's my food for thought.
yeah, he's been playing the North all year. They've been watching film, and honestly, they're not too impressed with what they've seen in the North. And I think that just goes to show that how the Hateful South is just, it ekes out the North, and it just means a little bit more here in the South. But that's enough said. That's the review of the rivalry week. Again, thank you everyone for participating. I'm really excited for next year's rivalry week and to continue to build this into truly something special. Next up, we're gonna bring back the 2 minute drill segment that we did last week. We really enjoyed it. I hope you did too. Um, and so me and Brandon have 3 questions that we're gonna ask each other rapid fire, go back and forth. Brandon, why don't you start me off with your question?
First round of the playoffs, Alec v. Carson. Who you got?
Ooh, Alex v. Carson. All right, I'm gonna quickly go, and I'm gonna say Alec. Um, that's just off rip. Patty Mahomes um had a terrible game against Houston. I just think that's a key piece that he's sort of missing right now. The Falcons have fallen off the wagon. So Bijan, I just think the Carson's team has been dealing with injuries um, all year long, and as much as this Alec team is so volatile, I think um, I think they're going to be able to squeak it out with a big performance out of whether it be Josh Allen, Jonathan Taylor, or even Dicker the kicker. But we'll see. Brandon, looking towards the future, who wins it all in the Hateful Eight?
Who wins it all? Ooh, this is a great question. Tell you what, I got. Give me Mick. Give me Mick. I think this is a team that's been trending in the right direction. You know, very uncharacteristic game out of his quarterback. And Dubes somehow like got 0 points last week. So I'm not buying this 104 performance. I think with the bye, that's really helpful. I think Mick is a team that can hit some real home run games, and I like his depth going in. I think he's taking this one.
I like it.
Dylan, little AFC South question
Ooh,
here. Will the Colts make the playoffs?
oh, will the Colts make the playoffs? God, so it all goes around their quarterback play. Can Philip Rivers or Riley Leonard lead that team to the playoffs? They are tied with the Texans 8-5. You got the Texans who are on a absolute heater right now. Number one defense in the league, um, by all metrics. Uh, I gotta say no. I gotta say the Texans beat them out, and the Colts are gonna just fall apart in the second half of the season, which it hurts my heart to say. I mean, obviously, division rival, but I was really liking the Indiana Jones energy that they had going on, but unfortunately, I cannot see them making the playoffs. Brandon. Again, looking to the future in the Hateful Eight. Who wins it all in the toilet bowl, aka who loses out?
Who loses out? You know, I I hate to kind of give in to John's fantasies here, but I will say I got two pretty convincing wins without much resistance against Alex. He did not manage to even break 115 points against me. I think his team's going in the wrong direction, and the poor guy I think is going to have another disappointing end to another season here in the Hateful Eight. I
Brutal.
think Alex is going to be putting on that high vis vest.
Well, I for one will be very excited to see that.
Dylan, little another personal question here. Coming up, college football playoffs, Oregon versus JMU. Final score prediction.
Oh my god. Oh, dude, I would do anything to see my James Madison Dukes. You gotta win. All right, we'll go quick, rapid fire. We're talking. We have a great defense. Our offense can kind of sputter sometimes. We're talking Oregon, right? Oregon has what like a strength of schedule in the 30s. They're a they've been in the college football playoff conversation practically the entire time. Um, man, if I as much as I would, I do hold out hope, as any good fan does for their team, but I do predict a James Madison loss. However, I do see it being a little closer than people would expect. Um, hmm, give me give me 28-10. I'll do 28-10. I think we hold this Oregon offense to a much closer game than people would expect.
Yeah,
Brandon.
I
Oh,
honestly,
sorry.
sorry, no, I just want to jump on that. I honestly, I can't necessarily see a world in which JMU wins, but I think it's going to be kept a lot closer. I think these Oregon guys aren't going to expect a whole lot out of you, and I'm not sure they're necessarily going to come full force. So if you guys get a little early momentum, I think you can keep it closer than some people think.
Yeah, as long as we keep it a close competitive game and we can like shut up the Skip Baylesses and the Paul fucking Feinbaums of the world, they're like it should be the best 12 teams and no like no one else should get a chance. Then I'll be happy. But last question for you, Brandon. Told you to pick up your NFC standings before the pod. Who wins the NFC?
Uh, I think I'm still I'm still liking the Rams.
Yeah,
I think I think just because Stafford, I will always go with a guy who's got experience
I
with
mean,
a solid team and a solid coaching staff. Stafford's got all that in spades. He's got playmakers. He's got a great coach, and he's got a team that's clicking. I'm liking the Rams right now. I wish I could say my fucking Eagles, but not right now. Not right now. I like the Rams.
yeah, no, I'm with you. I think something interesting I was looking at was something with the Rams because obviously that was they're 10-2 right now. Um,
10-3.
10-3, right? 10-3. I didn't know if they hadn't had their bye week yet, but but um, right. You got the Packers 9-3. You got the Bears 9-4. Two teams close, and you got the Rams have a difficult two games ahead with the Lions and the Seahawks, which I don't know if I necessarily think they lose both those games, but they could. And so I think that's just I think the NFC is really strong this year. So I'm really interested to see how it shakes out at the end of the year.
Yeah.
Um, all right, was that the last question? I think so, right?
I believe so. I'll do a little college football, little NFL talk, and then we'll do a preview of the first round of the playoffs.
Oh fuck yeah! All right, sounds good. Well, quick, I want you to start us off with bring our listeners up to speed on Notre Dame and what's been happening there.
So for those uninitiated, my one of my secondary, if you want to call it that, teams in college football's Navy. My uncle played there for a couple of years. He's not the biggest Navy guy, but out of respect and just 'cause it's kind of fun to have a to root for a service academy. I'm partial to Navy, and so that's just one of many reasons I hate Notre Dame. I hate them because they think they're entitled. They want Big Ten respect with an ACC schedule, and we got to see the biggest like crying campaign I've ever seen in my entire life out of them recently after they were left out of the playoffs in favor of Miami. Now, granted, do I think the selection committee made a completely political decision by putting Miami in? Yes, 100%. I think they basically said to themselves, "Hey, listen, Notre Dame's this big brand, but we have enough of a case to spin it so that we can protect the sanctity of conferences." I guess the ACC in this case. Miami should
Hmm.
not be in the playoffs. Let's keep that absolutely clear. But if they're going to be is if it's them or Notre Dame, then I guess you put them in.
Yeah, I was in. If remind me if I'm incorrect, but Miami did beat Notre Dame in the regular season, correct?
Miami did in fact beat Notre Dame. It was the first game of the season. They beat him by 3 points.
Yeah.
And did Notre Dame beat a single other ranked opponent that they faced? No, because the
No.
only other ranked opponent they played was Texas A&M, who they lost to. Texas A&M, I don't even think is as good as their record suggests, and yet they still lost. They went on to play their cupcake. They're not even playing like when I say ACC schedule, I'm not talking like they're playing the good ACC teams. They're playing Boston College. They're playing Syracuse. They're playing Stanford. These are bottom of the barrel ACC teams, and they're like, "Well, look how good we look against them." And it's like, "Oh yeah, like wow, that's just really
Literally
amazing,
anyone could
Notre
look good
Dame."
against them.
That's I'm just so I'm blown away by your spectacular performances against these teams. And they're the ACC pushed the thing that came out was Notre Dame was saying that the ACC was basically conspiring against them, and we actually have a partnership, us in the ACC, if we can even say us, in most sports, pretty much every collegiate sport, including basketball, except for hockey and football, which, as we all know, they're independent. So the ACC was advocating for their team, their golden boy Miami, who they love so much and is going to get absolutely stomped.
Hmm.
And Notre Dame, their feelings were really hurt by this. And I'm sitting there thinking to myself, I'm like, this is just so funny to me because it's like if your feelings are so hurt, if our relationship with you has been quote unquote permanently damaged, which is the exact verbiage they used. Well, I see no reason why you can't schedule, I don't know, maybe some Big 12 teams or some Big 10 teams or some SEC teams because there are these big guys, they can win these games apparently. So
But they
why don't they
beat
do it? Oh,
Purdue.
but they beat Purdue. Oh, wait, maybe it's because they want an easy schedule so they can sneak into the playoffs every year. Wow. Imagine that. So fuck Notre Dame. They don't deserve shit, and all their fans do is fucking whine on the internet. And might I add, you and I have been talking about this, us and Nick have been talking about this. Losing one game used to mean your playoff hopes were tenuous at best. Two games was like you're not even sniffing the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like two losses is the equivalent of like you might as well sign yourself up for the Pop Tart Bowl now. And now we've got teams who are losing two games and they're like, but we beat Syracuse by like 60. It's just give
Yeah.
me a fucking break, dude.
Yeah.
So Notre Dame did not deserve that shit. I mean, Alabama didn't deserve it either, but like, you know, it's just the crying campaign and how they feel like they're owed something because, they're popular or whatever. It's like no
Oh,
one cares
100%.
about Notre Dame besides their fans. So
Yeah, I mean,
Chiefs lost. Oh,
oh,
sorry,
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say quickly just my thoughts. I mean, you're sort of like my like college football. Like you are more into college football than say I am, um, and I keep more up to date with it. But my as an outsider, like the two things that sort of like, or I guess it's more so this one thing. It's the one thing, and like I talked about how I like romanticize like the old days of football and that on the other pods. I think it is so bitch made. All the stuff that's been coming out about the stuff that the Notre Dame athletic directors have been saying, and like them like fucking like being so fucking cowardly and pathetic as to just deny a bowl game. Like, are we being dead ass? Um, like just fucking play the game. Like you have like seniors on your team that are never gonna fucking play another game because you decided, oh well, I guess I don't want to fucking play because I'm being petty. Um, yeah, that shit, like, that's the shit that I'm like, well, like, I have no respect for Notre Dame, and, like, because of this shit.
Yeah, it's the entitlement, you
Yeah.
know? And I'm speaking as, like, a Tech fan here. It's like, I would love to go 10-2 and get left out of the playoffs. That would be the most wonderful thing ever to me, and I don't get what Notre Dame thinks they've, like, done to deserve this, like, yes, they made it to the Natty last year, but they lost, you know? Like, yeah, they were a good team last year, but they didn't win their games this year, and if you don't win your games this year, guess what? You don't get to the playoffs. Sorry. That's it,
Yeah.
you know? It would be like, you know, a good NFL team barely misses the playoffs, and they're like, "Sorry, guys, like, we're not participating in the draft this year, we feel like we've been treated unfairly by Roger Goodell." It's just
Yeah.
it's so dumb.
Yeah. And, like, the other thing is, like, well, one more thing about just, like, the college football playoffs in general is all the dumb shit about there should be the 12 best teams in the country. That's not how literally every other like sport or like playoff ever in any other sport works. It's there are divisions and you win your division and like we're not even saying like you get an automatic berth in this one for divisions, but like if you're so fucking great, then beat every team in your fucking division and go out there and and win your championship, and then you get a fucking auto bid. So like, stop bitching and complaining because you didn't make it. Like it's like then this isn't Notre Dame obviously because they're independent or whatever the fuck, but it's like the Texases of the world. Well, I'm like. Oh my fuck! Like, can you like shut your bitch ass up? Like, literally, no one cares. Go and fucking win your division,
Yeah,
or your
and
conference.
and that's all coming from people who are basically like, "Oh, it's because we're gonna get bad games," because they think Tulane's gonna get destroyed or Jamie's gonna get destroyed, and even if that's the case, it's like, yeah, that happens every week in college football, and yet people still magically tune in to their beloved SEC or Big Ten or whatever. Blowouts happen all the time. It's college football. The level of play is not nearly as tight as it is in the
Mm-hmm.
NFL. It's like if you're a college football fan, you should be used to seeing blowouts.
Yeah, that's like the
That's just
beauty
how
of
it is.
college football.
Again, and I don't want to parrot myself, but it all boils down to if you want in, win your games.
Truth.
Everyone else has got a schedule, you know.
Yeah.
Indiana didn't lose a single game this year, and they're the first overall team. Simple as that. Win your games. So yeah.
That was beautiful.
Little NFL talk here. Chiefs lose. My Birds lost. Did you see any of that Kansas City game?
I did watch that Kansas City game. In my notes, I see I wrote end of a dynasty question mark. Um, I mean, who knows? Because you have Patrick Mahomes, which is a fantastic quarterback, and I think if um the the team structure was any more competent, they would be fighting for the playoffs and the Super Bowl again. But I watched that game, and obviously it's against the Texans defense, which I said was first in the league right now, which is true. But I mean, Mahomes was still dotting his players up. There were several drops on the on the game, whether it be from Travis Kelsey, who I've seen edits of uh, of him being like an on, can he say fucking hang up the cleats, or Tyquan Thornton, or I think Xavier Worthy had a couple drops. Rasheed Rice had a key drop on a fourth down. Um, and
Deserved,
I
by the way.
deserved. Yeah, I loved your text when you said he should be used to high impact collisions. Um,
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. Like y'all know how I feel about the Chiefs. You know, this is a team of like bad dudes. Butker's a misogynist. Rasheed Rice is like killing people on the
they're
road.
like actual villains.
You know, like they're like our, you know, not to get political, but they're our glorious president's team. You know, this is just not a likable team by any stretch of the imagination. So
Yeah,
I am very happy to see them fail.
yeah, no, me too. And yeah, I mean, I think this team boils down to no the offensive weapons. Like there's no run game at all. But Mahomes was the lead rusher again. I think in 2 games with like 60 rushing yards. Um, then I call me crazy, but I don't think that's a recipe for winning football. Certainly not in the NFL. Um, I just they look like a team in the wrong direction, and now all they can do is win out and hope that things go their way, and then maybe they get in the playoffs. But as it looks right now, they're on the outside looking in, um,
Yeah.
which
And
is just crazy.
I think, you know, I can kind of transition this into the Eagles here. The Eagles had a bad loss, horrible career bad game out of my boy Jalen Hurts. And I think the Chiefs issues and the Eagles issues are kind of inverses of each other. You know, the Chiefs still have, you know, this like amazing coaching staff. They've got a great system. Spagnuolo's a, you know, legendary current, well, I guess modern legend. I'm not sure if I would say historically legendary, but he's a very, very, very
Yeah,
good
yeah,
defensive coordinator right now. And the offensive system hasn't changed in Kansas City, but they just don't have the personnel. Flip that over to Philadelphia, it's the complete opposite. The
yeah.
personnel on offense has not changed whatsoever, outside of the O line, and I do think the O line has regressed, and you know it has, but it shouldn't have regressed to this point, and it's just, you know, if you watch the game, you know, I don't think anyone will be shocked when I say, you know, like Hurts does not look comfortable. You know, he's guy is seeing ghosts. You know, the play where he threw a pick to a D line to an edge. You know, that was clearly like the call came down. It was like, listen, you're gonna look at AJ Brown on this play and you're gonna throw him a slant route. And guess what? It's incredibly predictable because that's what we do every single play. That we don't run a hitch route, and it got picked. You know, so it's just it's a lack of tempo. We're not doing RPOs. We're not running with the quarterback. You know, it's incredibly predictable running offense as well. Saquon's not playing like he did. The line's not playing like they did. And so like it's just a broken system right now. And I think the players are not playing in something they're used to, especially our quarterback. This is not like his game. And you can tell, you know, this is he's playing like he's playing horribly, you know.
Yeah.
Earlier in the season, he was playing the way that he did last year, which was one read, two read. If nothing's open, check the pocket. If it's clean, keep going. If not, scramble and get yards. And now it seems like it's one read, two read, force a throw.
Hmm.
You know, there's no tempo, and that's again that's not the game I've seen him play, you know, for the past, you know, 5 years of him being a starter. So it's no wonder he's playing like shit, and he is. You know, I'll be the first to say it.
Yep.
So
No.
sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say I just think yeah, me and Brandon were talking about it a little bit before the pod, and I think it this sort of like people. it's very easy to uh, shit on a player when frankly when you don't know ball, because you don't like. There's like so many nuances like that. Like I think people don't like pick up on. I I people like you. I think we've all seen all the stuff where it's where people finally been like they're shitting on Jalen Hurts because he had a bad game. And if I'm honest, if I'm gonna be a ball knower and be unbiased, I don't think that that Jalen Hurts is suddenly complete dog shit, or that he's always been dog shit, and the great Eagles have been he's been hiding behind them. I think it's a mixture of like you've been saying it like um the the coaching staff clearly isn't there anymore. Kevin Tulo needs to go, and also like some stuff that I thought I was seeing on the game on was it Monday night or am I tripping balls? Was that Sunday
Yeah,
night?
another primetime stinker out of my
Yeah,
Eagles.
but it was I saw him. I felt like I was seeing him try to make stuff that wasn't happen that wasn't there. And I feel like that like I was having like war flashbacks to every game I've seen of Trevor Lawrence, where when you're a part of a team where it's clearly not working, some quarterbacks can keep their composure, but I think a lot, especially playmakers, they try to force something that isn't there. They try to play hero ball, and sometimes it works out. Other times, as we saw on that, as Brandon said, prime time stinker, it doesn't. Um, and I just think that's the state of the Eagles right now.
Yeah,
Um,
solely James P. Sullivan legacy game. Shout out to bro, hanging put his number up. And yeah, just to kind of put a pin on or tie a bow on this line of thinking, you know, people, I'll be the first to admit I wasn't the highest rider on Trevor Lawrence. Never that I think he was horrible, but never that I think he was like that great. But you finally give the guy like literally a weapon or two, a competent defense, and a good head coach, and all of a sudden you're winning not just the AFC South, a good AFC South. Like normally being good in this division is like, oh, it's like being good in the NFC South. It's like you're beating the fucking Saints. Like who gives a shit? But the let's keep the records here. Texans are 8-5, Colts are 8-5, Jags are 9-4. That is a good division. That is a well above average division.
yeah,
So Daniel Jones went from a dysfunctional, albeit the talent is clearly there in New York. They have good players, but the system is not there. He goes to Indiana, and all of a sudden he's playing, lights out. It's crazy how that works. So sometimes, you need the players and the coaches to both be at a certain level to have success. If you have good players and a shitty coaching staff, they're not going to do well. If you have shitty players and a good coaching staff, well, you have Max Brosmer and JJ McCarthy. So, um, yeah, that's a personal ball knowledge journey I've taken myself from watching Trevor Lawrence start balling out and Jalen Hurts start playing like absolute dog shit. It's opened my eyes to some of the finer details in football. But no, that's enough about my fuck ass Eagles. Let's talk a little bit about the second ever playoff run in Hateful Eight history.
sounds good to me. We're talking. Where do you want to start us off? Why don't you pick our first game?
First game. Let's keep it with people who are actually playing for something. I want your opinion on this game you're playing against Audi, which is a team I admit I don't believe in.
All right. Well, so if everyone would look at their screens, we got I'm projected 152 to Audie's 134. Um, I think. Why don't we? I think we'll go by each game. We'll pick out our some key players that need to have big games and sort of the keys to winning the game for each team, right? So you're looking at for myself, I think um, you're looking at Josh Jacobs, you're looking at JSN, um, you're looking at Devonte Adams.
I'd say
Um,
Devonte Adams is the red circle player there
yeah,
because
certainly.
he can go from no points to all the points, and
Yeah,
in the playoffs you kind of need him to be on the side of all the points.
no, I'd certainly agree. And so yeah, that was sort of be a key to winning for my team. I was gonna say is that you know he, as I've been saying, is a red zone merchant. And so I mean you could have a game where he doesn't get those red zone touches, he doesn't get those touchdowns, and he doesn't put up these big games, right? But he is so lights out in the red zone that he's just been able to feed off of it all year. And so that's what we're sort of looking to is that can he make that happen against Detroit? Um, I think we're looking at Josh Jacobs. Another key to winning is has had he had a bit of a stinker against Detroit. He sort of came back. He had 17 points against Chicago, but against this Denver defense, do the Packers stay up in this game? Do they stick to the run game? Is game script gonna force them to throw? Is that gonna lower Jacobs rushing yards? I think that's a lot to consider for him. Um, and I think that's like sort of the keys to victory for my team. Going on to Audie, I think it's a little more clean cut as to what needs to happen for Audie. You're looking at Lamar Jackson and you're looking at his wide receiver duo. Um, and you're saying, can Lamar Jackson not have an absolute stinker? And can Puka put up and Amon Ra put up their like 25 plus games that they were having at the beginning of the season for Audie?
Yeah, you definitely, if you're Audi, you want a high scoring affair in that Detroit. It's really that Detroit LA game, like you were saying, that's gonna decide everything. And
Yeah,
you've got the negative stack with again with Puka and Devontae. So Audi is really hoping that there's no red zone scenarios and they're just airing that bitch out to Puka. And on the other side, they're not giving it to Jameer Gibbs, they're throwing it to St. Brown.
yeah.
And like I think this game is going to come down to that game. So
No, it's
pretty
it's it's
exciting.
super big. That
Yeah, exciting 4 o'clock slot.
yeah. Yeah, if you're following along to this game, you're definitely looking to that 4 o'clock slot. I mean, also I think another uh sort of the smaller names that you're looking out for is George Kittle, also at 4 o'clock. Um, you see, people, real ball knowers, grad cap enjoyers, might have noticed my Harold Finn Jr. pickup. It's calm. You don't have to worry about it. Just the biggest receiving threat on the Browns with Shadur airing it out.
Bowling Green
Um,
legend.
Bowling Green legend. Shout out. Yeah, real ball knowers know.
Go
Um,
Falcons.
um, but yeah, so you know, good luck to my opponent Audie. Um, and I think why don't we move on to the next game on the slate? Got Carson versus Alec. Why don't you
Ooh,
take it away?
big, big, big game here. Big
Yeah.
game here, gentlemen. And we did touch on this earlier in the 2 minute drill. And again, this is really that is the hateful North fraudulent deal. They put 4 teams in the playoffs to the hateful Souths too. But I just again I don't believe in Carson, I don't believe in Adi. If Carson beats Alec, this might be the most fraud division in Hateful Eight history.
Dude, the Mickey Mouse ring allegations are gonna go flying, bro. Oh,
And Carson because here's the thing. You're right. Carson's team has been trending in the wrong direction for the past couple weeks. Devontae Smith, very low touches. San Francisco, uh, I'm just not really a believer in them. Washington is constantly killing their franchise guy, and potentially low game for Shakir up against the Patriots. Much as I hate to say it, and Butker sucks. So that's pretty much half of Carson's team is just super super volatile right now.
Mm-hmm.
Keys to victory for him is he's kind of got that running back stack the way that Adi has the wide receiver stack of Bijan and Achan. If he doesn't get a big game out of those two, there is zero chance that he wins this game. What are your keys to victory from Alec?
Keys to victory from Alec. Yeah, it is the Josh Allen. I mean, Jonathan Taylor has honestly been on a bit of a downturn. Besides this like 49-point game that he had, not putting up the numbers he was putting up at the beginning of the season. Honestly, like it really is for me just Josh Allen, and then one of these random players that Alec picked up to like have like Zay Flowers had last week, a 20-point game, or Jacoby Myers, um, like has a big game for the Jaguars, um, as they're like sort of on the upturn. Maybe Digger the kicker can have another 20-point game. It really is just can Josh Allen have a good game, and can someone else pull their weight? And that's really all you're looking for Alec.
And Alec, a little word of advice here. I think you might want to drop that Minnesota defense, which has honestly got a bad matchup against the
Oh,
high flying
terrible matchup.
Cowboys offense. So that could be a big drop for you there. Might be a bit of a hindrance if it ends up being a close scoring affair.
No,
All
good
right,
call.
so now we're in the toilet bowl matchups here. Which one would you like to touch on?
Why don't we go Alex Will? I like to leave you and John for last. I think, but let's. I'll quickly do key players, or important players, and keys to victory. We'll do got for Alex key players. You're looking, um, James Cook. You're looking, um, man, it's thin out here, huh?
Yeah.
Um, I guess you're looking at Justin Jefferson. You're looking at maybe Quinshawn Judkins. Um, which, gosh, I mean, how's Quinshawn even been doing? He's been doing okay. 9 points against the Titans is not what you like to see.
He's definitely been slumping lately.
It's a bit of a slump. I don't know. Alex, it's looking a little rough. I mean, going up against a Will team, 11 Thielen team that was a playoff looking to be a playoff contender, and a devastating loss to Alec. I mean, I think Will, not to
Playing with
shade
a
on
chip on his
Alex.
shoulder. What do you think?
Not what do you say?
I said I think Will might be playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder here.
Yeah, no, certainly. I think Will gets out of the toilet bowl in the first round. Alex would have to truly pull something out of his ass. I mean, like, it was really the only thing keeping him together, um, was Drake London, and Drake London got hurt, and so I don't know. I mean, Quentin Johnson isn't having the season he was having earlier. Um, it's really all just sort of falling apart for Alex, and I mean, you got a Will team that we thought was genuinely going to be in the playoffs. So, I think this one's a little cut and dry. Quickly, I'll just go through Will's team. We're talking, Matthew Stafford, Jameer Gibbs, um, maybe, uh, I guess, Michael Pittman could have a game. Travis Etienne with the Jaguars team again on the up and up has been looking a little better, and putting up good numbers. Um, but I mean, we'll see. Anything can happen in the toilet bowl, but Yeah, that's my thoughts. If you have any other thoughts, or if you'd like to take it away to the last game of the playoffs.
I don't have anything ready to contribute here. I think this is a pretty cut and dry win for Will, and I think he's going to be playing for that seventh place finish pretty soon. Moving on to me and John, this is kind of a pretty pretty hot secondary rivalry I've got here, looking to put John in his ass, extend his losing streak even further. But again, it's I think there's really one game to watch out for, and that's the this Cincinnati game. Will T.
Mm,
Higgins play? If T. Higgins doesn't play, this becomes a pretty tricky game for me.
yeah.
It's I'd say it's more or less a wash across the board for the rest of my squad. Maybe I want to sit Jacoby Brissett because he's playing against that high flying Houston defense. But I think again, this is a good John team that has unfortunately, not had things go his way. But I really do think his players can pop off at any time if the stars align. I'd say this is probably one of the closer matchups of the coming week. And it would be both embarrassing and hilarious if I were to lose this game, because not only would it end John's losing streak, but it would also put me and Alex in a in a head-to-head matchup for the third time in the past, what, like 5 weeks, you know. And if I were to beat him again, that'd be pretty bad. So I don't know. What are your thoughts here before we wrap it up for today?
Yeah, I mean, you're thinking if T Higgins goes out, maybe you pick up Mike Gesicki, uh,
Dude,
wide receiver.
Gesicki's tough, bro. Don't even
But
play.
he literally last year. I learned about this recently. Last year when T Higgins was hurt, Mike Gesicki became the wide receiver 2 in this offense, and Loki put up numbers. So, um, maybe you're looking at that. Not to give you ball knowledge on the pod, but I don't know. I mean, this rivalry, it's obviously like the Hateful Eight rivalry is between you and Alex, but I mean, you and John have known each other for a long time, and I think that this just sort of it brings a tear to my heart, or a tear to my eye whenever I see you guys play. I think there's a lot of passion there. So I'm gonna be keyed in on this game to see who. Breaking news on the pod. Brandon has picked up Mike Gesicki and dropped Kamani Vidal.
Which is hilarious. I have Gesicki in some of my other leagues, and it just like totally like you know passed over my mind that I could get him in this one too. But he had a big week for me in my 22-man trumpet fantasy football league.
Yeah, 20 points last week. I mean, he's a dog. He's a dog. Um, but yeah, I think that's a great place to leave the pod. Um, I don't know. If anyone's here, remember to set your lineups. Um, tell us what you think. If you're here and you want to put in the comments what your thoughts are on some of the 2-minute drill questions, if you want to give your own 2 cents, I welcome you to do so. But other than that, have a fantastic week, and I'll see you all on the next episode of the pod.